I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Ty Go to the Movies with special guest Tim Davis. This is the podcast where all three of us saw a movie at our respective houses, because you cannot see this movie in theaters. And now we're together, we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie, should you not see this movie? Can the family watch this movie, or should it just be you and another adult, or whoever? Should you snack, or should you hold off? Do you need to pay attention, or can you be aloof through this movie? We'll try to talk about all those things, maybe more, maybe a little less, I don't know. We're here for it, though. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy. Yes, we watched a movie on streaming. There's been a slow degradation in the availability of movies due to various writer and actor strikes. There just haven't been a lot of movies. So we picked one from good old Hulu. And that movie is called No One Will Save You. This is a alien meets young woman,
home invasion,
and more movie. It has a very small cast. Tim, tell us about anyone who's in this movie who we might know.
It's really just one star in this, and I wouldn't even say she's a household name, but I think she should be talked about after this movie. Her name is Kaitlyn Dever. She's mostly been on television, from what I can see.
Last Man Standing.
Last Man, Tim Allen's
daughters,
most recent sitcom, and I think it looked like she was on the show Justified before that, which was that Western show, I think. But yeah, she's not been a major thing. I would argue this is probably her breakout role.
I think, any other movies she's done have been like indie movies.
And she's been smaller parts, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely centered around her.
Yes, okay. So what is this movie about? Well, I'm not sure I can tell you.
There's only so much.
But
Yeah.
what I will tell you is we start the movie, we're getting to know this young woman who is living in what seems like some kind of 1950s house, although it appears to be like modern day anyway.
Yeah.
We don't really see any technology in this movie at all, but it does seem like she is making a dress for somebody and mailing it off like an Etsy shop type of deal.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Very rural.
Small
Rural.
town. Yeah.
There we go.
Small town.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so anyway, she's at her house, she's doing the stuff, she's got like little model town layout with little characters in it and stuff like that. It kind of looks like her hobby, and so she's and what we figure out about her is that something has happened, and no one in town really likes her or is friendly towards her, and we don't really know why. We do find out. I won't tell you why, but we do find out in this movie. So anyway, we sort of see a little bit of that, and then, she goes to bed for the night, and that's when we start to get involved with alien things happening. There's an alien who comes into her house and is running around, and she's hiding from it, and, various things like that. And, eventually she comes to blows with the alien and ends up defeating the alien, and then the rest of the movie is kind of her encountering other aliens / having weird flashbacks and memory probes and forgiving people who aren't there and duplicating herself and all this stuff happens, and it's pretty wild. And then the movie ends. There's not much more you can really say. Even if you watch the movie, it would be really hard to summarize the plot. Even if I was giving spoilers, There's just a lot of weird stuff that happens. So there's the broad strokes of what happened in this movie. There's aliens. There's a woman, and she faces off with lots of different kinds of aliens. Yeah. So, Todd, what is your gut reaction as a non-alien to the movie No One Will Save You?
So, I I don't know if it's because we've seen some, duds lately, but I really dug this movie. Like I dug how this movie reminds me of Everything Everywhere all at once. And just in the sense of how kind of just that it's out there in the way it tells a story. It's out there in the way the story goes. And you want more as the movie goes along, but you're not given a ton. But you're like, I mean, I could have taken more, knowledge and a more descriptive understanding of what's going on. But I really dug the ride. Like, and for a movie where there's like one line in the movie,
Yeah.
everything else is like noises in the sense of like, some music, but more like background noise and then, person grunting and alien clicking or something like that. Like, otherwise that's it. There's one line in the movie.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Unique.
And I just, at first, once I picked up the fact that there was going to be no lines, I was like, this is going to be like pretentious, like one of those things, like, and I just kept being more pleasantly surprised as the movie went along. Like, and I thought the main woman, obviously she carried the movie. Like, it's all on her. Because, besides learning about her trauma and what's happened to her, the whole movie is just her reacting. Like, from one scenario to the next. It's just reactions. But I thought this was a clever movie. I thought it also wasn't a long movie, which I think really worked in its favor too. And, but, I dug it. It's weird. Like, some people are going to watch it and I think really hate it and not like it at all. But I'm going to be in the camp that really dug it, and I want to watch it again, honestly. Like, I want to watch it again and really get see if I can figure out what's really going on through it and stuff like that. And this would also be one of those movies where, like, some smarter person's gonna put together a theory about what's actually happening, and as soon as I read it, I'll be like, that makes so much sense. Like, but yeah, I support it. I wish you could see it in theaters because I think it would be a great theater experience. So that kind of stinks. But if you have Hulu, you should definitely watch it. If you don't have Hulu, borrow Hulu like I did, and then watch it. I think it's totally worth a watch. Maybe you won't love it as much, but I think everyone can walk away from this movie going like, that was very out of the ordinary take on this kind of genre of movie. And that was at least a fun ride. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Tim?
I am right there with you, Todd. I think, like, I'd seen maybe one ad for it that I didn't even pay attention to that much, but I thought, I'd like to watch that one day. And boy, did it blow my expectations out of the water. And when we suggested it for the podcast, I was very pleasantly rewarded, I think, with a very unique movie experience. I mean, has this kind of genre been done before? Sorta, but not really. I thought, like, it took the home invasion, scary person trapped in a small place trope, but totally turned it around. And like you said, it's all on Kaitlyn Dever's shoulders, and I thought she blew it away. Like, she was very believable, too. She didn't freak out in ways that are, like, acting scared. Does that make sense? Like, she wasn't... It didn't feel like acting. It felt like the movie did such a good job presenting this the way it would have... Even though it's a supernatural alien invasion, she reacted very much like probably most people would. Like, scared, tense, not screaming hysterically, not just, like, trying to, like, react in that moment. What is going on? I don't know what to do. And you just kind of had to watch her face to see what she's thinking and how she's reacting. And I thought that's almost harder acting to do than given a script. And I think everything about it was surprising and fun. While the alien design, it's kind of your typical, big head, big eyes that you kind of think of with aliens. I thought the way they moved, the way they made noises, was very unsettling in a good way, because you were just as tense as she was when they were creeping up on her or creeping around the house, and you're just sitting there going, oh my God, I would be terrified if that was in that situation. And like you said, adding it to this trauma that we explore layers of as the movie goes along, just adds to the tension, because that's like in the back of our mind while these aliens are out there with, like you said, no explanation really, no context, and you're not given a reason for why they're here, what their purpose is, and I think that's fun, because it's an intellectual kind of where you sit there and your brain wanders a bit, not in a, like you're bored, but your brain kind of is allowed to interpret it however you want to, and you're not sure. And I love the ending, because you could read that a bunch of different ways, and I think I could read 5 different takes on it, and they'd all make sense to me, because it was just a great, unique experience. I love the way it was filmed. I love the way it was shot. I love the way it was. The sound design should be up for some kind of award. I just think like all the elements came together, and it felt like a unique movie, like you said, like something new or different that stood out. And maybe we're overpraising it, like you said, because we've had a string of bad movies in a row, but I'm going to say I don't think so. I agree this should have been a theater movie. It really would have benefited from the sound. It reminded me a little bit of The Quiet Place. The same idea where, you're using sound as a character in the movie almost. And that's high praise too, because I really love The Quiet Place. I think I might have liked this a little more. But yeah, I definitely recommend seeing it, going out of your way to get somebody's Hulu and try and watch it in a dark room with not, maybe at night. It'll add to the experience. I thought everything about it was great. And I'm not sure it had that big a budget, but I thought everything looked solid and creepy and scary and unsettling in all the best ways a movie like this should be. Matt?
Well, here we go. If I never have to hear that stupid alien chortling noise again, that would be great for me. I'm not on the same page with you guys with this one at all.
All right.
I thought that the movie was meandering. I thought it really had trouble finding what it was trying to say. Yes, you could view that as it's trying to leave things open to interpretation, but I thought it did that way too much. I think it left it way too open. It never hooked me. It never pulled me in. And I never felt engaged in the movie. I honestly was having trouble staying awake at different points in it, which I felt like was quite damning, as this is supposed to be a thriller and building suspense the whole time, and I didn't feel like it did that for me. Now, it's possible I was just tired and it was a bad time for me to watch it, whatever, but it wasn't. I felt like there was just not enough there to hold things together. Yes, there was weird stuff that happened. Yes, we learned about the character throughout the movie in weird ways. But I felt like I was starving. I was a hungry man, and I was starving a little bit by trying to piece together plot details that didn't quite add up for me. So, different experience for me, for sure. There were some parts of this movie that were interesting. I think it's interesting. It's very ambitious to go with no dialogue and just acting. And I admire the courage to try that. I don't think it worked. But, my opinion. I don't think that the actress in charge there, on screen, on point, front and center, was I don't think that she was able to do as much as she could have done if we had had some dialogue to help her along the way. So, yes, I had a different experience than the two of you, and I would not really recommend this movie from my perspective. It was just, it didn't really hit home in any of the ways that I thought it was trying to do. Again, I admire the hubris of what it tried to go for, but I didn't feel like it came through for me. So, that's me.
Well, getting down to business here. How many Man, this is a hard
You weren't
one.
ready for this.
No. I thought it would just like come to me. I was trusting my instincts and they let me down. How many crop circles would you give this movie? Crop circles kind of being a small theme in this movie. 0 being the worst, because then you got nothing and there's no aliens, and what kind of life are you leading? 5 being the best, because then you got, I don't know, aliens coming and going for days. So, Matt?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go with 2.1 crop circles out of 5.
I don't know if the audio picked up Tim's scoff.
It wasn't a scoff. It was more of a
from the back of.
It was a ooh. Yeah. All right.
Yes,
I heard a.
It does line up. It does line up with what you said.
yeah. So yeah, I don't really recommend this. There are some interesting things about it, but like I said, I don't feel like they really delivered on the things that would have interested me. If they had delivered with I would have delivered them a higher rating and more crop circles. But 2.1 is where I'm going to end up for this guy.
Tim?
Well, yes. So I, like I said, I really, really enjoyed this movie in a pleasantly surprised way. I think, Todd, you touched on something which I agree with. I could see people, some people not liking it. And not just because Matt obviously didn't, but I think you're right.
I'm a person too.
It doesn't speak to you. Are a person. It doesn't. If it doesn't speak to you, you're not gonna dig it. And I could see people being like, "Oh, what was that?" As Matt, it was proof of. But as someone who did dig it, I have it at a 4.1.
4.1.
Yeah, no, I think it's unique enough for me to be in the higher category.
Yeah, I mean, like, going off of everything I've said, I did enjoy this movie. I was very satisfied with the end, but I was left, like I said earlier, just wanting a little bit more information, just because there was so much thrown at you, and different aspects of information was thrown at you, and different aspects of different things were thrown. So, I think I would have been a lot happier. Like, this would have been a much higher rating to me if some of that had been filled in. But I did enjoy this ride. I will definitely watch it again. And, and I do highly recommend it. So I landed on a 4.0.
Well, there you have it. Any other comments before we wrap up?
As I said before, I do hope it gets some kind of recognition in award season, whether it's an Emmy or Golden Globe or something, even if it's just for sound design. Or I felt like it was unique enough that it earned that, and maybe even for the actress too, because I do feel like she really carried the movie, and that was a lot to put on her, and I thought she did.
Okay, fair enough. I said the opposite of
Does
everything you
Matt,
said.
do you
I know.
wish none of that happens?
I just want to put it out there.
I don't really say the opposite, but okay. Well, that's going to wrap it up then for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we reviewed No One Will Save You, a Hulu.
I think it's an exclusive.
I think it is a Hulu exclusive. So check it out on there. And we gave it a 3.4 overall rating, which is pretty good. So, yeah, I have to say you should probably watch it. Don't take my word for it, because I'll say you don't watch it. But our podcast as a whole says, this deserves some consideration. So I will yield to that and say, go ahead and try it out.
And let us know on social media.
Yes, this is like I said, we want to see
if you didn't see it because you're so Team Matt. You couldn't see it. I don't really want to. I don't care if you liked it or not. Really, I just want to know if you are, if anyone's out there in true solidarity with Matt.
Yes, I want to know that too.
Yeah,
be friends with me.
I want to know that person who comes to this podcast just for Matt.
Can we just get rid of the end, Todd?
Yeah,
just Matt goes to the movies.
Can we get the singing out of here? I just want to hear what the movie's about. I want to hear Matt rated. That's it.
Who's this third wheel that keeps showing it?
Whoa.
Wow, I guess so.
Wow.
See?
Oh my gosh.
You got support.
How rude.
Well, we are a team, and nothing can divide us.
That's right.
So, keep on listening. For anyone who you like on the podcast, subscribing and downloading, and we will see you next time.
Da da da
Da da
da da da.
da da da.